Calling captain hat trick. Anders Lee with the first hat trick of his NHL career. Ilya Sorokin with the shutout. We have our key takeaways from the Islanders' 6-0 win over the Blue Jackets. We'll give you the keys to both of this weekend's games coming up at the UBS Arena. And an all-time Islanders enforcer is our Islanders birthday of the day. All that and more coming up on this episode of the Locked On Islanders podcast.
Your Locked On Islanders, your daily podcast on the New York Islanders. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
All right, everybody, and welcome to the weekend edition of the Locked On Islanders podcast. So glad you could join us today and be part of the Locked On Islanders family, and thank you for making Locked On Islanders your first listen every day. We are free and available on all platforms. If you've got something Islanders related on your mind, if you have a question, a comment, maybe a topic you'd like us to discuss on the show, feel free to send us an email. The email address, lockedonislanders@gmail.com. If you leave your first name and where you're from, we're happy to mention you on the show when we talk about whatever it is that's on your mind. You could also follow the show on Twitter at Locked On Isles, and you could follow me, Gil Martin, on Twitter at Ice Wars, NYR/VSNYI. We'll keep you up to date on all the latest Islanders news, notes, and happenings, and I am live tweeting during nearly every Islanders home and road game. Big win for the Islanders, 6-0 over the Blue Jackets. Before we even get into what happened on the ice, let's talk a little bit about an update on Zdeno Chara and Matthew Barzal. Neither one of them playing Thursday night at the UBS Arena against Columbus, but both of them now back to skating and working out. So hopefully they'll be back soon. And as soon as we know something, we'll tweet it out to you as to whether they'll be able to play tonight or Sunday, the two games that the Islanders have to close out this 6-game homestand. So fingers crossed on that one that Barzy and Zdeno Chara close to returning to action. The other thing is the booth. If you were watching this game on MSG Plus, both Butch and Brandon unavailable. So AJ Malesko replacing Butch, and Butch get well soon. He had a little procedure done. And Jigs McDonald, the Hall of Famer, one of the all-time classiest guys you ever want to meet in the world of hockey, taking over for Brandon. And I'll tell you, always great to hear Jigs. For those of us who remember when Jigs McDonald did play-by-play for the Islanders, just a great trip down memory lane, and Jigs, he still has it. So great to hear that. Now, let's get into the game. This game, you could talk about the hat trick, and let's start with that. Anders Lee getting the job done. So many times in his career, Lee had 2-goal games, and this was finally the first hat trick of his NHL career. And the third goal came on the power play with literally 0.4 seconds left on the clock. So it really felt good for Anders Lee to get that first career hat He is a guy who you would have thought would have had one by now. That's the job done, gets the Hattie, and congratulations. And, none of these goals were earth shattering type of moves. The only goal of the game that sort of took your breath away was the first one. By Brock Nelson, where he literally spun rings. And you need your players to do. Lee gets most of his goals last night. So that was a positive. Congratulations to the captain on his first career hat trick. 3 assists for Anthony Baviglia. Has struggled up after a slow start. Overall, a strong performance. How about Josh Bailey? Where guys, but let's talk a little. His 6 out of the year. A lot. The Island down the game. Boom, and Sorokin made the save. The score they needed. A win like this was really pretty and was the only goal. Just set up Bach the overall team deep enough. Number, but Andrews had in the line stat that I love. Volumes A. Not only, but they took their most dangerous line lots more to get podcast. Today's episode, they're not just a protein bar, they're a treat. And like all Built bars, they're covered in 100% real chocolate. And why are Puffs a fan favorite? Listen to some of these flavors. Yummy, cinnamony churro, coconut marshmallow, my favorite, banana cream pie. These are so good. They're going to be your new favorite. And look, most Built bars contain just 130 calories, 4 grams of sugar, only 4 net carbs, but pack 17 grams of protein. Compare that to a candy bar, which usually has around 240 calories, 30 grams of sugar, and dozens of net carbs. At Built Bar, they're all about the taste. They make it taste delicious first, then they figure out how to make it healthy. And I don't know how, but they pull it off every time. Go to Built.com, use the promo code LOCK15. You'll get 15% off your order. That's promo code LOCK15 for 15% off at Built.com. Thank you for making Locked On Islanders your first listen. Your next listen, check out the Locked On Now podcast, nightly recaps of every NHL game every Monday through Friday with analysis from our local experts. It's free and available wherever you get podcasts. 2 games on tap for the Islanders this weekend. We're going to break them both down for you. From tonight, the Winnipeg Jets in town, and that is the consistency is not. And it sort of drives, I think, a lot of Jets fans in particular, crazy. But the are a team that probably this year, but can't quite put together consistency when you don't have the consistency. You're not going to win a lot of hockey games. And, you look at the numbers for the Winnipeg Jets. And they really should be, I think, better than where they are. So let's 16 goals for, 18th in goals against, 6, 22, and 10 of the season. Out of the still desperate to come in and pro 19th in the peak 0.4% advantage of look Pierre-Luc side and my LA Islanders the bar. So has this now. They also played last night, but they lost the 2 games before that. So again, the inconsistency is there. Got to watch for Pierre-Luc Dubois on the power play. He leads the team with 12 power play goals, while Kyle Connor and Blake Wheeler 15 and 12 assists on the power play. Nate Schmidt with 10. Pionk with 9 assists on the power play. And Adam Lowry and Kyle Connor, each with 2 shorthanded goals. So keep your eye on them. If the Islanders get the man advantage, they can be dangerous. Meanwhile, on Sunday, it'll be the Anaheim Ducks. Ducks in a very tight but inconsistent Pacific Division, but falling off a little bit as of late. Will be playing the Devils Saturday night in New Jersey. So they will be on a back-to-back. The Islanders will have 1 day off, but it will still be 3 games in 4 nights. The Ducks have lost their last 2 and 3 of their last 4 heading into the game Saturday against the Devils. And they'll be doing, it's the Devils, the Islanders, and then the Rangers to close out what is a 5-game road trip for the Ducks. You look at Anaheim, again, their goals are the problem. They're middle of the pack, 17th in goals scored, 22nd in goals against. Their power play is lethal, 5th in the league, 25% of the time on the power play. They score a goal. The penalty killing is 7th, so special teams getting it done. John Gibson is the number 1 goalie. Anthony Stolarz the backup. Troy Terry leads the team with 28 goals. And Trevor Zegras, if you haven't seen this kid play, he is so talented, so much fun to watch. He's a little banged up, though, so we want to see whether or not. Former and Richard Rake are the second line. Daniel O'Regan, Derek Grant, and Vinny Latino. Ryan Getzlaff. These are Irish, a lot on Islanders. Today's episode is brought to you by Bet On. That time of year again, this college basketball tournament is finally upon us. From all the latest odds, contests, and player props, betonline.net is the #1 source for all your sports betting needs and info. BetOnline remains the best spot for all of your sports scores, podcasts, and news this season, and it's not just basketball. BetOnline is your continued source for all your sports wagering information needs, including live betting and your favorite Vegas casino games. Head to the website today or use your mobile device to learn more about the trends and action. BetOnline, where the game starts. Time now for our Islanders' birthday of the day, who really was a fan favorite when he was with the New York Islanders. And hard to believe that, it has come to this, but a very happy birthday today for Bummer and Baumgartner. And I'll tell you, he really was not a big goal scorer, but a guy who really gave his heart and soul to the New York Islanders during his 3 seasons with the team. Baumgartner will be 56 years old today, 6'1", 205, drafted in the 12th round by the Sabres, made his NHL in 87, 88 with the LA Kings, 89-90 season. There's 89-90, 90-91, and 91-92. Had 190 penalty minutes in 53 games in his first partial season, 282 penalty minutes in 78 games in 90-91, and in 44 games in 92, 202 goal, 12 assists, points, and as we mentioned, all of those penalty minutes he played in all 4 of the 5 playoff games in 1990 against the racking up 27 more penalty minutes after leaving the Islanders. And the Bruins before closing NHL games, 13 goals, 2,242 penalties in those. We're going to go back his better games with the Islanders. November 7th, 1990 at the Brendan Byrne Arena in the Meadowlands. Glenn Healy of the Islanders versus Sean Burke for the Devils. And the Islanders get on the board first. Kirk Muller, a future Islander, off for hooking. Pat Flatley scores the power play goal, his second of the year. Pat LaFontaine and Yari Gronstrand with the assist at 4:28. Only goal of the first period, Islanders up 1-0. But the Devils storm back in the second. Claude Lemieux, his 7th from Eric Weinrich at 2:22. Bruce Driver, his 3rd from Peter Stastny and Kirk Muller at 4:36. Islanders trailing by a 2-1 score. But then Pat LaFontaine evens it up less than 2 minutes later. His 10th from Brad Dalgarno and our Islanders' birthday of the day, Ken Baumgartner. That goal at 6:21 after 40 minutes. Islanders 2, Devils 2. In the third, the Islanders take the lead. Bill Berg, his 2nd of the year from our Islanders' birthday of the day, Ken Baumgartner. At 2:32, Islanders up 3-2. But the Devils answer, Alan Stewart, his 2nd from Walt Podubny, the late, great Walt Podubny. That goal coming a mere 26 seconds after the Berg goal, and we're tied again at 3-3. Islanders get a power play when the Devils are called for too many men on the ice, and Pat Flatley cashes in his 2nd of the game, 3rd of the year. Brent Sutter and David Volek with the assist at 13:35. Pat LaFontaine extends the Islanders' lead with his 11th, 2nd of the game, 11th of the year. Gary Nyland, the assist at 16:11. And then Brent Sutter closes out the scoring with his 6th of the year. Don Maloney and David Volek with the assist. Islanders skate away with a 6-3 But for the Bomber, Ken Baumgartner, 2 assists, a +2, and 2 shots on goal in this game. Glenn Healy making 27 saves on 30 shots. Islanders outshot 30-28 in this one, but they come a 6-3 victory. And for Ken Baumgartner, a nice 2 assists. He is our Islanders' birthday, so happy 56th birthday to the Bomber. So either Zdeno Chara or Matt Barzal back, but I will say this. The Islanders are starting to play some better hockey as of late. And that is encouraging. And the question now becomes, can you start together? Columbus for 5th place for Wilson. Be consistent. Now make your second listen Locked On Fantasy Hockey. Host Steele Roden and Flip Livingstone help you become the expert of your fantasy league. It's free and wherever you get podcasts. That does it for this episode of the Locked On Islanders podcast. We will be back on Monday with our next episode. We'll have our takeaways from both of this weekend's games and all the latest injury news, notes, and updates. Have a great weekend, everybody. Stay safe. And, of course, let's go Islanders.